So Olivia, thank you for joining us and thank you for making time to make this podcast with us for the Foundation Years. Early Years and Childcare is clearly a very important aspect of the work within government at the moment. A lot of activity going on, a lot of reforms. Can you give us a little bit of an overview and tell us a little about what the aims of those reforms are?
Yes, definitely. It's great to be here. I mean, the most important thing, Anne, is about improving outcomes for children. That is absolutely the forefront of what we're trying to do. And of course, within that, the most disadvantaged children are the most important, because we know that the impact of early education, the evidence shows us, for those children can be absolutely transformational. So that's our focus, but within that we also believe that we can support families, modern families, to live their lives in a happy and fulfilled way. And we're doing that really by focusing in three areas. How do we improve the quality of early education and childcare? How do we improve the affordability of that offer? And then how do we give parents and families the choices that they need to make their lives work?
Now, the affordability of childcare is something that clearly everyone's very aware of.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think there's a kind of twin track thing here where we are looking at how we can support all parents to get the childcare that they need when they need it, and for that not to have such a huge impact on kind of family budgets. And so the tax-free childcare offer is fantastic in that regard. 20% of childcare costs up to £6,000 per year, so a really significant boost for families. But we're also, as I said at the start, supporting the most disadvantaged, in particular the announcement that those on universal credit will now have 85% of their childcare costs covered. So that's really significant help to make it worthwhile for parents to go to work, which we know is the best way to tackle child poverty. We're introducing an early years pupil premium, which will extend the pupil premium that is being so transformational and up the school range down to 3 and 4 year olds, and that kind of closes a gap that existed really between 2s and school age children.
What would you say to people about the 2-year-olds? It's a really important initiative.
Yes.
Encourage people to get involved.
Yeah, I mean the 2-year-old offer, which is, to be clear, a free entitlement of 15 hours early education for 2-year-olds from the 20% lowest income families, and that will increase to 40% in September this year. That is one of the government's absolute priorities. That delivery can really make a difference. So we know, for example, that the gap between disadvantaged children and other children by the time they just reach school can be as much as 18 months in terms of language ability. So there's a real impact it can make. Local authorities have done an incredible job with providers, that's schools, nurseries, childminders, in getting children into places. And as of September, when we started the entitlement, September last year, there were already 96,000 children benefiting. We want to see that just grow, as do our partners in local authorities, we know, and people are really committed to this.
So choice is something which clearly there's a commitment to. How are you improving choice?
Yeah, so this is all about making sure that families can get the childcare that they want when they want it and when they need it. And of course all families will be different in terms of both what they need and the kind of childcare they're looking for. A couple of things just to emphasise that we're doing. One is to make sure that schools are a convenient and accessible place for families to access childcare. At the moment, a very, very small proportion of schools that have nurseries offer those nurseries on an 8 to 6 basis, which is what the vast majority of working parents need. Childminders is another great option for parents. We know lots of parents really value that high quality home-based care for their children, as well as encouraging childminders, independent childminders, including by giving them instant access to government funding where they're good and outstanding. We're also setting up childminder agencies, which will be a one-stop shop for parents, where if they're looking for good quality home-based care, they can go to an agency and get what they need.
Now, there's clearly an encouragement of schools to become more involved in early years and also in childcare for school-age children. How do you see that working?
Yes, that's right. I mean, I think it's really important because schools are a convenient, accessible, and as we know, high-quality place where parents can access early years and childcare. And at the moment, very few schools that have nurseries are offering those nurseries 8 to 6, which is what most working parents need. So we're really encouraging and working with schools so that they'll make their early years offer much broader for parents and offer that 8 to 6 care. Now, I should be really clear here, this is not about very little children going into a formal school environment and doing formal school learning. These are about age-appropriate nurseries that are working with very young children and just are based within a school site and benefiting from that high-quality graduate leadership.
And with that, your message is clearly that you want quality standards to maintain, don't you, without school throughout all of that?
That's right, and we are really strong on quality. What the evidence shows is that it's the quality of the early education that makes a difference. That's why we are investing in more than ever early years teachers, so that practice is increasingly graduate-led. We've strengthened the early years qualifications so that everybody in the sector that's working towards qualifications knows that they're doing something really valuable. And we are doing things like Teach First in the early years to bring the best graduates into early years. School Direct we're extending so that nurseries will be recruiting and developing their own staff. And I think the message is that it's as important, and I would say maybe even more important, that we have really high quality people working in the early years.
In terms of the quality, in terms of the potential, what would be your kind of key message to providers at the moment?
So I think it is a message about opportunity. There's a huge amount of investment going into the early years, whether that's through parents and tax-free childcare and universal credit changes, or whether it's through some of the other things like the Early Years People Premium that we're putting in. There's a huge opportunity in terms of demand. We know with the new entitlement, we know with more people than ever going back into work, we know with the demographic changes, there is real demand for childcare. And we believe that by increasing some of the options, by reducing some of the regulatory burden where that's appropriate, we're freeing providers up to really think, how can I respond to the needs of my families, and can I be really innovative and entrepreneurial in doing that? And I think we're trying to put all of the pieces in place to unleash providers' own creativity, because of course that's what absolutely characterises the early years agenda, is that these are people who have stepped up to respond to needs of families, and they know best what the opportunities are.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you very much for taking part. There's more information on all of this on the Foundation Years website. Thank you very much.